Welcome to Class 6, Part 3, Dynamic Painting, or Painting Dynamic Skies That Glow. And we are at the very end of our class. We have a little bit time left. We've spent most of the class talking about the class and looking at your guys' amazing work. I appreciate everything you guys are doing. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a timer for 30 minutes. So a lot of times when, like today, like I got up at 3 this morning and just feeling stuffy from hay fever or some kind of a cold. So what I will oftentimes do is just set a timer. Usually it's 45 minutes, but I'm going to set it for 30 minutes. And I'm going to attack the canvas. Just have fun, be freewheeling, and who knows what's going to end up. So I just set it there. You guys see that? 30 minutes. I don't know if you can hear the ticking.
Yep.
Oh, I have to set it by my microphone. So that's like my heart rate really high because this is scary. But I'm just going to have fun. I'm just going to say, you know what? Not all days do we have, 2 hours, 3 hours to spend on a painting. So let's just have fun. I put this yellow, Indian yellow on here earlier, and it's already tacked up. It's not even barely getting on my fingers. And I'm going to revisit the painting from last week, which I just designed on Photoshop using my very valuable time here. The colors I have are titanium white, which I'm not going to touch for a little while because I'm going to be doing a wipe away first. So I've got Indian yellow, which is a very transparent color. I've got quinacridone red, also very transparent color. I've got ultramarine blue, which is semi-transparent color. This is the color I'm a little less secure in using. This is a phthalo green. So I wanted to ask you guys if you wanted me to use it. And then I've got a burnt umber or a transparent earth red, which is also by a lot of brands called an oxide brown or oxide red.
Sure, use the phthalo.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get crazy. And it's a black and white photo, so whatever colors I end up with. And I already know that if I mix the phthalo green with my quinacridone red, I will end up with some beautiful kind of grayish blues. So because I have a limited time and it's getting shorter by the minute, I can design it where I put in my wipe away colors. So I know my sun is roughly in this area. It's also going to be reflecting down into this area, right? I've got my quinacridone red, which I can use just to knock in that horizon. I also know that I'm going to have some silhouetted trees. Also going to have the bottoms of some clouds. You guys having fun?
Yeah. I'm going, how is he going to cover all
If
that?
you're not, then all you have to do is just bear with me for like 25 more minutes. Now I'm going to just kind of mark in where I want this creek. It's coming down. It's coming down. Coming down. I want it to come off this edge. Maybe start right here. So already I've kind of got something blocked in. Maybe change this angle a little more. What a mess, right? And now I've only got 27 more minutes. So now I just have to fix it. Right? Okay, so my sun, again, is coming from roughly in this area, reflecting down into this area. My intention is to create kind of a dynamic. I did this painting last class as kind of a sunrise cool painting. So now I'm thinking, let's do it as a sunset. Let's make it warm and hot and dramatic. So light here, it's getting cooler as it fades away from there. It's also, if I can imagine the tops of grasses, they're warmer on top, right? So I got to think of the shadow side. So let's bring in some of that ultramarine blue, maybe some of this phthalo green. If I mix that phthalo green and that turquoise or that ultramarine blue with some of this transparent earth red, it's going to go real dark. Right? And then the more I add the ultramarine blue with it, the cooler it goes. The more I add the earth red color, the warmer it goes. And then I have these other two options here to even warm it up further.
You know,
Looks just like a big dark mess, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. What I think would be interesting for us over the summer is to look at how you started the paintings last week with acrylic black and white versus how you're attacking it this time. Because it's an entirely different approach.
Yeah. So what would you be looking for in that?
I think that when you start a black and white, you start with more detail. This
That's
is
true.
when you do an oil wipe away, it's more of a sculpture. You can have a lump of clay and you're starting to, the images emerge. Whereas when you do acrylic, you are actually creating it, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes, yes. So I think what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that with the acrylics, I'm thinking more structurally.
You're
And
building a
with the-
house.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And in
with
this case, you're creating a sculpture. You're bringing something out of a lump of clay.
so well said.
That's my impression.
No, so well said. Yeah, and that is kind of true. Is I'm just like imagine like each one of these colors is a little bit of clay. I'm just pushing them on there. I'm
Yes.
adding a bunch of clay. And then I will, in an ideal world, come back and sculpt them. Whew. That's chaos, right?
And if we were to show the black and white you did at the same place, it would have an entirely different look and feel.
Yeah, for sure. If we go back and look at that, yeah.
But even though there's chaos, it looks like there's a nice, strong design.
I hope so.
And I think the difference is how, in the interesting difference to me is how that design emerges between this technique and the other one last week.
Yeah, and I find them both so fun, so liberating. I mean, yeah, it's interesting because I'm seeing so much green in here, which I don't think I would get without that phthalo green. So I'll be maybe wrestling with that. Phthalo anything is so toxic, colorful. So it may take some subduing. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab a bigger brush, a house brush here. And I'm just going to knock that all in and scrub it down a little bit just so I've got something that I can control. Check my timer. Got 22 minutes, 21 minutes. Oh, it's so green. I do not love that. That's going to be a wrestling match. Who said they wanted to see phthalo green?
That's kind of funny.
Nobody's going to admit it now.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
it wasn't me, it was Lisa. Sorry.
yeah. That's a lot of green. That phthalo is just so strong, and that's the thing is I'm not very comfortable with it. But man, everything is green. All right, this is going to be a green painting brought to you by Australia.
Go with the flow.
Yep, we'll go with the flow. We'll have fun with it.
Good.
Huh?
That was good.
No, he didn't, but they said
All
that
right.
days ago.
Yeah.
So
No.
I always do this. As soon as somebody wants to buy my painting, just tell me to stop and I'll ship it to you.
Mhm.
Eloise, what have you done?
There's a lot going on in there.
All right, grabbing a new brush because that brush is so gummed up. All right, so
This is where you start saying,
the
trust the
yellow
process,
paints
trust.
are, what's that?
I said, this is where you start saying, trust the process, trust the process, trust the process.
Ugh. Yeah, and whatever gods we believe in. Yeah. All right, let's go for it. So we've got our horizon line roughly here. Got our sky here. We've got some clouds coming in up here. Ah, look at that. Something.
Woo.
It's the beginning of a thing.
You're channeling your Albert Pinkham writer, I think, today.
Yeah, anybody that wants to haunt me and help me, I would take it.
It's emerging.
It looks nice.
Ta-da!
Yes. Keep
What do you
going.
guys want to do with the last 20 minutes?
Gorgeous color. I love the color.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, Eloise, you're off the hook.
The red is gone.
So now I'm just taking a clean towel and just revisiting my lightest lights. Trying to figure out the sky shapes, the cloud shapes, the underneath the clouds, I'm looking for value. What I'm not I mean, I'm saying the thing, right? I'm saying clouds, I'm saying grasses, I'm saying water. But truth is, all I'm really thinking about is value, lights and darks, some structure. If I start over, like, I want grasses, I want, specific things, I'll get bound up. So in the beginning, there was the word. Now, in the beginning, there is just values, there's just structure, there's just so let's see how dark this was and how it just felt overly, I don't know, overly strong, overly bearing. So I'm just gonna see how that just feels hopefully a little bit better. But I also just lost my gesture, which is the movement of the clouds. I never put this timer so close to me. It makes me so nervous. I can just hear it ticking away. All right, what do we got? Let's lower our horizon a little bit. This is a little too much space, in my opinion. Or what I could do, let's maybe, what if we hinted that the fact there's some water back here, like it gets bigger. Ooh, that's nice, right? Like
Yeah.
this creek is leading into some water. And that's what I like. It's just so sculptural. Everything is so
I think it's more spontaneous.
right. Yeah, I'm
And
just,
I guess
I'm
that's what I like about it.
yeah, I'm just responding. So, okay, let's take another brush that's almost clean. And I'm going to try to find the tops of these grasses. Just a little bit, just to hint them in. And this is a very scrubby brush, so it's going to make irregular marks. And I want them to kind of fold in towards the water, creating irregular forms. So I'm turning my brush, letting it kind of dance, letting it move, letting it pick up paint, move paint. Again, very free at this stage. Even if this timer goes off, I can come back and revisit it, right? But I'm just setting that as an arbitrary timer, and I can just see, it's like a challenge. Just how much can I do in this 30 minutes?
I love the grass marks.
Yeah.
And I can just grab another tool because this one's kind of, becoming redundant, right? So let's grab something really weird here. Let's grab, I haven't used this in class yet. Anybody recognize this tool?
Yeah,
Yeah.
bachelor.
Kitchen spatula that melted on
Yeah.
our pot. So let's just see what this does. Let's get some weird edges, weird grasses.
Oh, wow.
It's flimsy and floppy and a little strange. I can pick up paint, I can move paint. As I'm painting more and more and more, I'm finding all these fun tools. I'm also taking a class right now with David Sharp, and
I love his stuff.
yeah, me too. And he's just so experimental. In fact, one of the classes all we did was use, I used a key card, but he used, well, actually, it's my old ID. But he was just using a credit card and just making these different marks. He was using it to lay the paint on. And it was just so fun to do basically an entire painting with just a credit card, laying on, removing. Let me soften up a little bit here. Just taking my brush, wiping it off.
That's your shop brush you're smoothing it out with.
This is literally a house brush here, yeah. And I'm just using it to move some things around. Again, I just don't want to care about anything too much. So I'm going to throw that paper towel away. Now I'm going to go back in and use the subtractive technique. So I took my paper towel. I'm going to twist the top. I'm going to dip it into my paint thinner. And I'm just going to take that and dab it over here. So it's not drippy, right? I just don't want too much. And let's get some highlights on here. Let's get some lights. But I can already hear Gail's heartbeat going up. Just like, ooh, those are some interesting colors, right? This could be a ton of fun. Right? And others of you are like, I don't understand what Michael is doing. It's too crazy. And that's what Michael is thinking as well.
I just like watching things emerge, and I think that's what attracts me to the wipe away.
Yeah.
Because there's so much of it is instinctual rather than, being true to the reference photo or something like that. You get into it and it's like, ooh, I feel this, or I feel that, or, a memory somewhere.
You know what part of it is, Gail, I think? Is we're the Polaroid generation.
We are.
That whole just, flipping the picture till something starts to evolve and show up on there.
I used to direct a lot of photography, and we burned Polaroids like crazy. Is the light right? Is the arrangement right?
And it was just so fun to watch that picture just evolve and show up in front of you.
It's true. I hadn't thought about the Polaroid analogy.
I still have some of those in my photo albums.
I'm amazed that they still hold up.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, if we had younger people in this class, they'd wonder what we were talking about.
I know.
They're like,
They
I've
don't-
heard those rap lyrics.
Yellow Simon and Garfunkel, Kodachrome.
Yeah,
That's what that is.
yep, that's what they were talking about.
Uh-huh.
There was a rap song that was really famous when my daughter was little that was "Shake It Like a Polaroid Picture."
Oh, really?
I think it was Hey Ya, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
such a good song.
It was so much energy. He had so
What's the
much
name of it?
energy.
Hey Ya
Hey Ya.
by Andre 3000
Yeah.
and some other guy.
Yeah.
The group is called Outcast.
Outcast.
Outcast, yes. Yeah.
Andre 3000 and what was the other guy's name? Little
Big
Boy or
Boy.
Big Boy? I don't know.
Great though.
Great song. That was their final album together, double album set.
What happened to all your pretty grass?
What's that?
Where did all your pretty grass go?
It's in there. It's just subtle. So now what I can do, let's try a different technique. Let's just crumple up. And actually what I'm going to do is grab those are good paper towels. Let's grab a bad paper towel. And this is just your generic crusty paper towel. And what I can do is just crumple that up. I can do this with lots of different things. Lots of people do it with tissues and things, but I like the structural strength of this. But watch what happens here, I hope, is I can just.
Oh, wow.
Ooh,
They
ooh,
just
and ah. Oh, I'm
Like
afraid.
you guys have not been my students for years, like, but this is it, right? I mean, it's just like I used to, when I first started teaching, said, I only suggest people use, flats, hog hair bristle brushes, maybe one palette knife. And I still believe in that. As we learn painting, it's fun to have, or it's good to have limited tools. But as we begin to experiment more and more and more, it's fun to just kind of, again, that whole question of what if I used a paper towel? What if I used a really bad paper towel? Right. And I'm used to be like, how do I refine my shapes? How do I perfect my shapes? And now I'm like, how do I destroy my shapes? How do I create organic forms? How do I create irregularity? And so it just depends on what you're looking for in your paintings and in your. Now I'm kind of sad. These clouds went up way too high. I would actually like them to come lower. So let's see if we can do what these paints do so well, is let's just bring some back. And let's get some warmth in there, right? We're getting closer to the sun. Nothing is protected. Nothing is safe. Everything is organic. Everything is mobile. Those colors are a little bit too warm, a little too brown. So I'm just going to bring in some of my greens and blues. My sun is roughly here. So that means the light around it is a little lighter, a little warmer. Thinking of the gesture, using my motion. Oh, see, a cloud. It's back, I hope. Let's clear some of this off. Let that water through so it opens up and have some way into this painting, some movement for the viewer. All right, so I'm going to clean this off so it's more dry brushing. And what I'm going to do is bring some reflections and movement into this water. Don't worry, we'll revisit this next class. But let's just take, it's going to add a little bit of blue so it's a little cooler in the reflections because the light is warm. The reflections are dark, but I barely added any paint to this brush. Mostly what I want to do is just drag some of those darks. So do you see that, how it's just kind of coming down? Doing the same up here. So it's going to be a vertical stroke. And I can just kind of go crazy. Did I freeze for you guys?
No,
No,
Oh, my screen is frozen for some reason. There we go. So you see how that's pulling? And again, this is the cheat way of doing water and reflections. So I just take some of that, bring it down. Now I'm going to basically clean the brush again a little bit. It's still going to be dirty. I'm not dipping it in paint thinner or anything. And watch what happens as I do some horizontal strokes now.
Oh,
yeah.
Water.
wow.
Cheaters. You guys are all cheaters.
Mr.
It's so
Squirrel Man.
silly. It is just so silly that it works. And then sometimes what I'll do is just take my brush again. Let's clean it just a touch more. It's still filthy, but I'm just going to take it and I'm going to add to the flow of the water.
Wow.
Not weird, yeah. All right, let's try to refine it. How much time do I have left here? Uh-oh, 2 minutes.
Oh,
2 minutes. Let's just refine it just a touch. Again, this is just the underpainting, right? So I re-dipped a paper towel and I'm just going to find my light one more time because I've messed all this up. And let's just go again. My son, I just constantly am going back. Where's my son? Sound like a bad parent. Anybody seen my child? Where's my son?
wow.
It literally makes me feel so good. Now I need to find a clean part of this towel, do the same thing for the water. Sun is here. Let me go underneath the camera so I can actually get directly beneath it. So my son is here. Now I'm a good parent. I just found my son again. All right. It's a messy mess. It's got a lot of browns, a lot of greens, but these aren't colors I would have probably thought of, intentionally, but what a fun experiment and kind of a happy accident.
Yes.
There's something going on that I really like. And yeah, even if it wasn't a beautiful painting, I just had good time for 30 minutes,
That was
32 minutes, if you're being honest. And
it was great watching you do that.
Yeah. It is very nice.
Very, very nice.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm gonna step away and
All
I'll
right,
let that
thank
tack up, go take the dog for a proper walk so she's not destroying more stuff. But yeah, so you're yeah, totally a mess. I mean, I can see that it's a mess, but I could easily in 5 to 10 minutes, most of that paint thinner will kind of evaporate. I can take a soft brush, I can clean up those edges, I can bring in paper towels, form those grasses. I can do tons of stuff, but it's a fun design, a fun, interesting beginning, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I want you guys, your homework is again the final project, but challenge yourself. Try something a little bit out of your comfort zone. Get off that paved path and find where things grow, whatever, saying you want to use. But yeah, I'm so sad that next week is our final class. This has been a really great group. I know I say this every time, but you guys are fantastic. Hopefully some of you can join me tomorrow on Thursday
Yeah.
for our painting time. Otherwise, get on Padlet, comment, support each other like you're doing, and we will talk to you guys in a couple days.
Good one.
you.
See you
Awesome.
tomorrow.
Hi, everybody.
You guys.
Thanks,
Thanks, Michael.
everybody. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Have fun.
Have a good day.